And with us now live from Washington, D.C. is the U.S. Secretary of Education, Arne Duncan, and the President and CEO of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, Pat Harrison. Welcome, and thank you both for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you. And Secretary Duncan, if I can start with you, 80%, that's a huge milestone. How did we get here?
It's a big deal, Wes, and to see the positive trends, to see more and more students, as you talked about, walking across that stage, I can't tell you how important that is for them, for their families, and ultimately for the country. What we've seen are pretty significant declines in dropout rates, particularly among our African American and Latino students. And to see less students dropping out, more students graduating, as you know so well, it just opens up a new world of opportunity. So teachers, social workers, counselors, parents, everyone working hard, but most importantly, students taking their own education very seriously. And I see that as I travel to high schools across the nation, how hard students are working to build positive futures for themselves.
And Pat, you take a look at that and you see where we have gotten to. There is no one group or entity that can get to that type of number alone. What has been the role of public media in terms of helping to get this type of messages out and also helping to get to that number?
Well, first of all, I just want to say congratulations to everyone connected to the third annual American Graduate Day. This is so exciting. It shows that when Americans come together and decide they're going to take on a challenge, and these kids are our hope and opportunity, that good things happen. Public media is trusted to tell America's story, and education has always been a core value, from providing highly trusted content, early childhood learning, providing a safe place where children can learn through our work with the Department of Education's wonderful Ready to Learn, where we're actually helping children in high poverty neighborhoods succeed as well as their peers from more affluent neighborhoods. So what story did we want to tell? America's public media general managers live in communities, connected to communities. When you see a statistic, 1 million young people, American young people, boys and girls, failing to graduate every single year, that's an outrage. So who are the kids behind the statistic? And over the past 3 years, public media stations have been providing local content, listening to kids and teachers and parents, and we started really hearing their stories, move beyond the statistic, see how they're struggling, what are their challenges. And now we're celebrating the champions who are in their corners, the parents, the teachers. Instead of pointing fingers of blame, we're working together. And the outcome, as we move toward more than 80%, is going to be good, not only for these young people, but for our country as well. And thank you, Wes, for all you're doing.
And thank you. And Secretary Duncan, you know, when we think about the 20% who are not included in that number, some of these challenges are persistent, some of these challenges are generational. How do we go about targeting that situation and those dynamics to get them across the finish line?
Well, I always say when someone drops out, that's a symptom of a problem. It's not the problem itself. No young person ever wakes up and says, I want to be a high school dropout. And what we have to do, not just in those junior and senior years where it's often too late, frankly, but freshman year, middle school, elementary school, who are those students who just need a little bit more help, who need an adult in their life, a mentor or role model to help them through the tough times? And when we as adults come together, again, I see it in communities across the country, young people overcoming just terrible obstacles, but because people are helping them through that, they can be successful. It's when we're not there to meet them halfway, that's when things go south and students drop out.
And we see, even today, we're recognizing over 50 organizations around the country that are actively doing the work. Where would we be without these organizations stepping up and doing their jobs?
Well, nonprofits, faith-based institutions, YMCAs, Boys and Girls Clubs, you name it, churches, having people come into young people's lives, stay with them for the long haul. And Wes, I was one of those really lucky young kids coming up, 2 fantastic parents, wonderful family, well-educated. But from the time I was 10 years old, I happened to have a mentor and a role model, a man named John Rogers, and I turned 50 in about another month or so. So for the past 40 years, he's been this unbelievable influence in my life. Every hard decision I've made, I've talked talked it through with him. And again, I had two fantastic parents. And so I think about those children who aren't blessed with a stable family, who might not have any parent at home, how critically important it is to have that adult in their life for the long haul.
I tell you, turning 50, you're looking good, Mr. Secretary. And
aiming for another 50.
There you go. There you go. There you go. We're rooting for it too. And Pat, you know, I know one consistent theme that we've seen throughout all of the American Graduate Days is the importance of a consistent, caring adult. And that has really been a push that you've had on this. Why has that been such an important push on making sure that that's part of this conversation?
Well, I think part of it is because, similar to the Secretary, I had caring people in my life who continued throughout my life, who were mentors. Some of them didn't even know they were mentors, but I watched and I learned. I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and went to PS 99, and I had a teacher who wrote in my graduation book, "To thine own self be true." Well, I didn't know what that meant, and it encouraged me, basically, to find out more. Public media provided me with almost this golden passport to learning, for free, commercial free. So I know how important it is to these kids, and we work with organizations such as America's Promise Alliance. General and Mrs. Powell have been there in real time for a long time, really inspiring, encouraging kids. And think of your own life, Wes, and you wrote The Other Wes Moore. It makes a difference. If you can't have a parent in your corner, it can be a neighbor, it could be a business leader, a community leader, but everyone needs someone, and these kids are no different.
Well, and I tell you, I mean, and to think about the impact that people have had and people continue to have on the lives of others and why that's so important. You see it play itself out every single day. And I'll say, I guess I'll close this, Secretary Duncan. You know, we're in September. And students are now back in school. Seniors are getting ready to look at their final 9-10 months of school. What message would you send them for those high school seniors right now?
Well, first of all, nothing's more important than graduating and then taking that next step on your education journey. So be it a 4-year university, 2-year community college, trade, technical, vocational training, whatever it is, some form of education beyond high school has to be the next step. So a couple things now is they should be visiting our website, studentaid.gov, to look at financial aid, and over the next couple months filling out that financial aid form. But each year we put out $150 billion, Wes, with a B, $150 billion in loans and grants. So I don't care how much money a student's family has or doesn't have or what's in their neighborhood, there's an opportunity out there. So filling out the financial aid forms, taking those ACT and SATs, preparing for that, applying not to one school but to multiple schools, and looking at what your options are. This senior year is a time to, yes, savor that final year of high school, but to start to plan the rest of your life.
Well, we cannot thank you both enough for your leadership, for your example, and for your service. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Wes.
Thanks for having us. Great job.
Thank you.